Hello and welcome. Time for another game on Two Crosses Together. I've already explained before how to get these programs. If you're unsure, send me a message, I suppose. But small basic you need, and then when you're on there, you'll see an import button. You'll need to put a code in. I'm going to publish this one. The code you would need for Bitcoin Cash and DGB is that of KBJ 464. There's not as many days in this as Bitcoin Cash started August the 1st, 2017. So therefore, let's go into my results as I will show you on the day-by-day level how the trades worked out. As far as what we start with 3 of the Bitcoin Cash and 68,200 DGB. So what I did was I put my trades in the spreadsheet in this format. The bolds represented buybacks. So some points start off non-bold. So therefore, this was an immediate trade. I mean, when you look at this day 2, day 3, 4, 7, 13, 17, I'm going to show this in another way too as well. But how many in and how many out and what the ratio happened to be. And we can see here that the late 90s and the early 100 days got very busy. Nothing from day 30 to day 62. And as mentioned again, well, right before the hundreds and above the hundreds got busy. Small break from day 109 to 115, and then day 120. Just settling in with good trades every few days or a week or so, and then around day 142, then 45, 46, 47. Now a lot of that might have been just well, not really here because 147 was a different trade. There were times that the ratio got so out of sync or great for my case that I did like 3 or 4 buybacks in 3 or 4 days, and I could have done them all in one in real life. But as far as the video game is concerned, this is how a lot of it would have played through. We can see a big gap between day 270, day 339, even before a big gap between 188 and 221. And then from 221, another month before another trade. And the gaps even got larger after that because we've been in less volatile times lately. Nothing from 346 to 415, and then nothing to 461. Few trades after that on day 79, 88, 94, 507, and then nothing from 507 to 578. And then that's how it stands. So what I did is I took these numbers and I put them in the spreadsheet where I got the data on the Bitcoin Cash and the DGB. And this is where I put it in. So what I have is this is where I got the data from. When I do these spreadsheets to put the data together, I first get one price. So this is the spreadsheet that Bitcoin Cash comes in. So this is the Bitcoin Cash data. Here's the close here. So starting off at 16, 24, 14, 7, just wild moose. And then in here, this was what I copied and pasted on the DGB, which is the date and the closing price. So now it's a matter of dividing one number by the other. So I divide the Bitcoin Cash divided by that of the DGB, and that's what number comes in here. I took the decimals off for the gain purpose. And then this is easy for me. I can do this so fast every time. I'll do a 3 columns before it. One will have ratio column over. This will have equals a previous number plus 1, which is this will be 0, and then it goes in chronological sequence order after that. And then the right bracket equals 2 and this number. So I can just copy and paste this all the way down and then put that into my programming language. But as I did this here, I just made sure that the numbers that I had from my first spreadsheet just matched in here. And then what I can do is I can go further upon the spreadsheet and put in the ownership. So I started with 3 and I started with 68,200. So then what I would do is I would take equals this number plus this number. So 3 plus negative 6 is equal to 2.4. And 68,200 plus 21,212.3, well, there we have it. and it would do this, so on and so forth. So when I started this game off with 3 and 68,000, I ended it with almost 11 and 190,000. So that's between 3 and 4 times gain here, and we'll say about 3 times gain on this. So obviously overperforming the market very well. These are two coins that, well, Bitcoin Cash generally, it's an interesting beast. Let's put it that way. And what I've done is I've found a way to put a chart together to see how your portfolio would look over these 628 trading days versus how the price of Bitcoin Cash as well as the price of DGB has performed. By doing so, I checked the hodl. This was just useless because this is just an average median price of like Bitcoin Cash, and it was actually made the chart worse. So this is just meaningless stuff not used. But this is, and this is an easy calculation. Equals this number multiply the Bitcoin price plus this number multiply the Bitcoin price. That's what your portfolio is worth. And it started off with 1 Bitcoin. We can see how fast how your portfolio falls in half. It goes from zero point 0.9 up to 1.2 down to 0.49, but it all works out. So in here, what I have is portfolio value, Bitcoin Cash value, and DGB value. How do I calculate this? Very easily. This is equal to this number divided by 0.9645, basically that number. And this is the Bitcoin price, the Bitcoin Cash price divided by its open, which is 0.1608. And the DGB, it takes its price, which it's this one here, divided by the 707 price that it started with on August the 1st. So here is the chart, and this is only the first 65 days. Let me center it so that you can see everything. That should work. Let me just, there we go. So within this, what do we see? The blue line represents you, and the orange line, because Bitcoin Cash got its ass kicked right off the bat, the orange line is Bitcoin Cash, and the yellow one is that of DGB. So over the first 65 days, what we can see happen, as I've shown how even just, well, you were losing value. Bitcoin Cash was down less. Basically, Bitcoin Cash and DGB were down half its value after 65 days. But by the first few trades that you were able to get, well, you were only down about 65% at this time. What we'll do is we'll increase the data range and see this so many periods over at a time. So if we go to period 130, well, now we're seeing something really interesting here. As to periods 97 or day 97 through and all those other days after it, we can see that Bitcoin Cash had a spectacular rally, which at one point was worth 40% more from that tremendous start that it had prior before, but obviously giving it back. Meanwhile, DGB was down well more than 80% of its value. So during the time when Bitcoin Cash was up, the best you were at was 40% down, maybe a bit better. You were pretty much 60% down before then. But that's because of the poor performance of the DGB. Let's move this on further. So we were on day 130. Let's do day 195. Oh, wow, change. Big change up. And now blue is the trading both coins back and forth. It's doing quite well, even when both coins were rebounding. Because before, what we've seen happening was the amazing move by the Bitcoin Cash. And as this is going down in Shopee, you can see how yours is just crows back and forth in here. And then this move here got it so that from day 127 up to day 157, your market just soared past this. And what was happening is both of the other coins were having uptrends. Not every day, of course, they were having those types of moves, but by you making your buys and sells against the market, you were able to have a good move outperforming the other two coins. Just so I can remove some of this, what I'm going to do is I'm next going to change the data so that it's going to have some of that removed. Let's move again into the future. Let's go to row, we're at 195, so let's go to 285. And now everything goes down from rows 36 down to 131. Your portfolio, you were up well over 150%. You almost came back to the negative. Not quite. Wow. Around row during your top at plus like 2.5x, 2.6x, whichever it may be. These coins were showing small profits at the same time, making your values extreme because of how many you're holding. And also, you were, I mean, they were both big, so that's what happened. Now, when they fell down so big, going from their value before, well, it didn't take long before Bitcoin Cash, or excuse me, DGB, because well, one of them, who cares in that sense? It's really not important. But your market's going with the rest of it because you own that market. But every time you increase your level of coins, if you have 3 times more of each coin, then something like this should have to present itself. Let's move this into, say, 375 now. And even go something like that. All right, so there you're seeing at the start of this the downtrends that both coins were having, your coins also. And then from row 67 up to about a little over 100 on here, both the coins were having gains. A little bit of sideways action at first, but the yellow one below got things sparking, really helping your chart. And then how you're able to hold on to those gains from about row 82 or so to the end. While you're in a nice little sideways-ish sort of level, the other one is losing very much noticeably. Let's continue on. As we were at 375, let's go to 465 next. And now you're just really destroying both those other markets now at this point. As their coins just can't. I mean, if you were just put both your coins in the wallets, do nothing, hodl them together, they're losing value, at least against Bitcoin. And in here, you're technically gaining value. Yes, you have times where they lose and gain, but that's the whole point of this game anyway. That's just going to happen. So if there's just coins you like, and key word is coins, and it can only be two outside of Bitcoin, and even with Bitcoin for that matter, because you can trade coins back and forth with Bitcoin, obviously. So it's just two coins. Then this is, you might as well trade it back and forth at key points. I don't see why you wouldn't, especially after watching these videos. Other than the fact that you already got trading strategies that are different than this and they work, obviously that makes sense. Let's continue on further. And let's go to day like 575. So now the crypto market's getting their ass kicked. You're seeing your portfolio go down and moving into negative territory yourself. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove some of this upper end again. Let's take about the first 75 or so days off. Even first 100. Yeah, that shows it up a little bit better. So when this was breaking 1 around row 79, This is when these things were both down at like, I guess I saw a number 0.58 here. No, 0.58 is up here. But at that point, it was like around the 0.42 mark. They have both. Yours was going into negative territory when both of these were losing half its value. And then you've already fallen in here down like, well, 0.62 or so, maybe. That looks like. And that's losing 38% of your value over, well, the whole time at this level. These coins losing, of course, a lot more. And this should take us to the end. And it does. From this bottom point in here, this orange line has obviously been higher. This point has some ups and down moves. And interestingly enough, both DGB and this doesn't surprise me the slightest, of course, but Bitcoin Cash and DGB are pretty much have done the exact same move since August the 1st. And the reason why it doesn't surprise me too much is because, well, every single one of my buybacks got filled. It's like, wow, that doesn't usually happen. Usually they're always either going to have a whole bunch of seller buy orders that need filled, or some of them become worthless, or the value of them, like on say day number 20 you make a trade, it doesn't get bought and back, and then day number 600 you could do the reversal. It's like, geez, I traded 100 for 200 back then. Now I'm trading like thousands and thousands for each other now. That's not even worth doing, stuff like that. But again, we're seeing how you're able to outperform it. These are two coins that were down. You at this point would barely be profiting. As we can see, it's barely below the 1.2 number, but profiting nonetheless against it. And then you add the two extra mechanisms. And let's just bring this back to its beginning. And I don't really want the first 30 or 40 days because they're just crunched up together. But in situations like in here, when both of the altcoins up in here, these high areas, the idea when trading two coins together is when both the altcoins, definitely just the one for that matter, even just the one, but when any of the altcoins are way up against Bitcoin, we'll sell it against Bitcoin and then wait for it to go down. And then your blue line is going to even do better. I mean, I should do an example of this at some point. I already did one example where I would trade two coins together, but at different times. I would sell against Bitcoin. I'm going to do that. That will be my next one that I do, and I'll do another chart like this. I almost should do, maybe, like, well, it doesn't matter which one I do, but bottom line, results should always show for it yourself when you buy low, sell high, and I mean, low and high is just so easy. 50 and 200. What's low, what's high? The lower number. I mean, people in grade 3, kids in grade 3 would understand this buy low, sell high enough to know that if something was at 20 and the next number is 29, which is higher and lower. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye bye.